Hello and welcome to my newest and latest series, How to Kerbal, as you've probably seen by the video title. In this series I will be teaching you how to build mostly aircraft and some other Kerbal related stuff such as low orbit ships and just easy and quick ways to get decent stuff into orbit. Today I'm going to be doing the simplest part of the game, which a lot of people I have spoken to who have played the game struggle with, and that is aircraft balancing and how to get the weight in the right place to the lift. Now, the way I do it may be different to how other people do it, but it seems to work for me, and that's how I'm going to be doing stuff that works for me. Now, usually I start with this Cockpit, and there's our logo, How to Kerbal, as this is back there as well. This Cockpit I usually use for single-man things, but what I'm going to be building is something that's also practical to you guys. Now, I feel that a little sort of like tiny person transporter is going to be more useful than at the moment while the BD Armory mod's being updated. Once the BD Armory mod's updated, I will be using that, and I will also be using the multiplayer mod and playing with some of my friends, hopefully. But today we're just going to be building a small transport ship for Kerbals, really, to get them from one place to another or from a base you've built somewhere else. So first you're going to want a cockpit. I would choose this one. Now, all aircraft consist of sort of 3 to 4 main things depending on how you build them. All aircraft need a cockpit, fuel, air intakes, and engines. Those are the 4 main things you need to actually get the aircraft working, along with wings and ailerons. So now I've got the cockpit, I am now going to go to utilities and then place down a couple of crew cabin. Now at the moment, actually scrap that. Now you're going to want to click on these two to show your lift and your centre of mass. At the moment my centre of mass is here. But what I'm going to do is go to then fuel tanks. Now be very careful when you're choosing your fuel tanks, because there's now this fuel tank and this fuel tank. Is very easy to get mixed up and it gets very confusing sometimes. Also, always make sure you're using the right kind of fuel tank, especially when you're building large aircraft. As you can see, rocket fuel, and there's also liquid fuel. Most of the time when building jets that aren't going to space, you just want the liquid fuel, but luckily for the short one it's not very easy to get mixed up. It's only between these two that you can get mixed up. I'm going to need a bit more fuel. Right, because I'm only going to do the basics. Now I need an air intake of some kind. Now I could center this. Now I could add a long tail boom and add wings on and have the engines mounted in the wings, or I could have a tail mounted engine and have better sort of spacing. But I'm going to add the engines to the wings because there's a design I like personally, but you can stick it wherever you want as long as it's on one of these attachment points. So I'm going to need a tail boom, which is in aerodynamic. I want the one that's slightly slanted up just for looks. That's not the one that's slightly slanted up. There we go. Now the tail I'm going to go for is I'm just going to use these normal tail fins. Snap to angle. This helps place the wings down at a flat angle like that. Now I have lift at the back, no lift at the front. I'm going to correct that in a minute with the normal wings. Turn off symmetry mode to get your tail on. And there, you've now got a functioning tail. If you want to get it a bit more functional, keep it only for pitch. So turn off everything else. It automatically does the other side if you've got symmetry mode on. And then turn off the tail for pitch. Pitch and roll, I think it is. Yeah. Now I want to add wings. Now what I could do if I wanted to is just add the largest wings, which is these ones. Turn on symmetry mode. But I am not going to because these are too ridiculously big. Also I've angled them up slightly. Oops. Right, come on. No. Place. There we go. See, that's just too ridiculously big for me. So I'm just going to go for the default. I'm not trying to break any speed records here. Just go for the normal ones. And then you want the lift to be just behind or inside that little red and yellow and black ball. So the mass. And what you'll find is the more wings you add on, the closer that comes into the centre of the wings, as you'll see once I start adding the rest of the wings on. Now for the engines, I am going to add a pre-cooler and an air intake. Supersonic, yeah. I'm going to just rotate that. Rotate it down. That's not what I was meant to do. No, I just add the pre-cooler down first. This helps cool down the engines, helps cool down the air, so it allows your engines to be more efficient. And the reason I like the Mark 1 supersonic air intake is because it allows you to slow down the air if you're going at supersonic speeds, so that it doesn't affect the engine too much. And I just want a default little, not that little, different one. Where are you? A lot of the game you'll find out if you buy it. It's a lot of searching through pages and tabs and stuff to find the bits that you want. Right, now on engines. No, I just want a normal little jet engine, a Weasley turbofan engine. That's where you want the pre-coolers and stuff, because these things get hot, especially if you accidentally go supersonic, which I tend to do. Now I want the rest of the wings. Sorry if this isn't very entertaining, but I know that those of you who want to watch or need sort of a quick guide, this is going to be very helpful. So there's, I'm going to have, just keep adding wings till it looks right, really. It's part design. You've got to compromise between your design and practicality, really. And this is sort of where I like to compromise, where practicality and I place those wings perfectly. Wow. See, this is sort of the perfect arrangement for mass and lift. Though I know that lift's going to be brought back slightly by the time I put on the ailerons. Now what I want to do, I want to check this to make sure that there's no fuel going to waste. Hatch obstructed. I know a way of getting them out, so that's fine. Landing gear missing, I'm going to add that. Monopropellant, I'm going to remove that because this isn't a space plane. Just click and drag. Right, am I going to have this a tail sitter? No, I'm not. So I am actually going to have a ladder at some point. Now, what you do to get Kerbals in and out of this thing is you're going to have to transfer them to this bit and get them out, because there isn't actually a top hatch or a bottom hatch. It's just, as you see, like doors like that. So to actually have a true entrance and exit, you'd have to have one non-aerodynamically attached to like your underside of the wing or something. Right, let's add the landing gears. So now I'm going to use the medium landing gears on here. Check where the mass is. You want the landing gears. If you want a tricycle type landing gear, then you want your back two wheels to be behind the centre of mass, and your front wheel or front two wheels to be in front of the centre of mass, like so. Maybe not quite like that. I might use a small landing gear. That's a bit small now. What if I just move this? Turn on symmetry mode, turn off snap to angles, because otherwise it goes weird with the wings. That'll work. That will work. Now I want to strengthen up the wings, because these individual panels aren't going to be strong enough to hold themselves together. Now if you've only got one sort of big wing coming off, I suggest you do this, but if you've got like just one panel like that that's working for you, then there's not really much point in doing so, aka why I'm not going to use them on these. Also, these are going to be quite good for turning. Right, I'm looking for the strut, which is on the first page, I'm pretty sure, in structural. Don't know why I was in utilities. Now what I do, you may not want to do it, is attach it to fuselage, to nacelle, and then nacelle to wingtip. Nacelle to wingtip. That way you get sort of like the full range of strength. So that's pushing against that, and then that's pushing against that. You can also do it on top if you want to go like that. I might actually keep that and then go from helps if I click there to there. Right, aerodynamic. Now I'm going to add the ailerons. I always use the largest, just for the sake of using the largest, really. Snap to angle if you've got flat, completely flat edge. Don't snap to angle if it's angled like this, because it doesn't work very well. Now I'm going to have two set up like this, and then I'm going to have a tiny one. Actually, will that? No, I'm going to have a tiny one in here that does nothing. I'm going to deploy them to see which way round. deploy. That work as flaps when deployed. I'll show you how to set that up in a second after I've set up these. These ones you only want to do is roll. Okay, right, now to setting this up. Now what you have to do is go to Action Groups, Custom 1, which is linked to your 1 number button, not the numpad, but the number 1 on your keyboard above W. And then click on the aileron you want to set, or the thing you want to set as your flaps, and then click Toggle. So now when I hit 1, they will come down and provide more lift. Okay. Back to parts. Let's name this test 1. And now let's put the Kerbals into the container. It should come up with a small list like this. I'm going to go to the astronaut complex to get some people to actually put in it that aren't important. Back. Crew cabin Mark 1. Fill it up. Add to parts. Save it. Make sure you save, especially if you're modding. Save quite often, because sometimes some mods have the tendency to cause your game to crash. That's just as a warning. And now let's launch. So what I'm going to do is take off, fly to the sort of deserted landing strip, drop off the people, and fly back. That is my mission. Right, hit T to turn on the SAS. This helps especially if you're building fighters, because it helps stabilize the aircraft a bit more. Throttle up. Hit 1. You see, these deploy. And off we go. I do like the change they made to the cockpit, although I don't like the fact that they got rid of the piece of glass on the other cockpit. The piece of glass with sort of like the line across it, because that helped when it came to BD armory stuff. Right, in the air. For those of you who want to know what the speed of sound is, it is, in meters per second, 340 meters per second. Now you know. Right. Now I'm in the air, I can bring that up and just enjoy the flight over. Let's have a look at the cabin, shall we? Oh, I'm starting to get muck effects. That's interesting. I think that's Valentina. No, it isn't. Pegasus? Did I say Pegasus? Wow. Jeffrey. Damn it, Jeffrey, why are you scared? You're not gonna die. You can't die, you're a Kerbal. God, they're all freaking out. I think it's because I'm almost at the speed of sound. No, I've got to slow down. If this goes to the speed of sound, I'll be surprised. Actually, I won't. Most of the stuff I build goes to the speed of sound. Though I will have to slow down to make that turning and landing. So I'm going to throttle down. By the way, it's Control to throttle down and Shift to throttle up. I think I should have mentioned that earlier. Right. Making the approach now. Use a bit of ruddering, use a bit of rolling, rudder, roll. Use the ball to help predict, flaps down, help predict me where the aircraft's going to be. And I'm going to assume that the stall speed on this, because it's light, is going to be about 50 meters per second. That's what it roughly is on most aircraft like this, is 50 meters per second. Now you see the little yellow sort of circle I'll pull down. You see it sort of trailing behind the little V shape. That is sort of the prediction of lift, kind of. It's like the prediction of where your plane's going to go, in reference to where your aircraft is pointed. And when that starts coming beneath you, you know you're about to stall. Or it's like drastically beneath you, like down here, you know you're about to stall. Right, getting ready. B is to brake. I may just blow up. If I blow up, I'm gonna have to refly this and edit it. No, I think I made it. I think I made it. Yeah, I've made it. Should have set these to thrust reverse. That would have been useful. 47, 44, 43. I may pop over the edge of this. Ah. Stall speed wasn't 50. That's bad, but I've still got my wheel, so I can still carry on. Just gotta stop. I may end up in the sea, because these are quite mountainous. Yeah, I'm gonna end up in the sea. Well, Kerbal Space Program always starts off with a bang, especially on the first episode. Usually, you can either add drag chutes and then repack them, or do what I did, which is just go off the end of the runway, or use the thrust reversers. Now, yes, where was I? Kerbal Space Program starts off with a bang. There we go. Right, let's take the people out. I'll show you how to get the Kerbals out, since... I have no idea what that was. Since you cannot... Actually, I could probably just get them out the back there. I hope it stops doing that. What you would do is get out the first guy. So, let's EVA the first... Where is he? There we go, Jebediah, EVA. Now in the sea. Let's swim him over to the land. No, that's not right. Switch back using the brackets, the square brackets, to the ship, and then you... Hatches obstructed, can't exit. Right, what you want to do is transfer... click on the thing that has the crew in. Transfer crew. Transfer crew? No crew in this. Transfer crew. Transfer. There. Transfer crew. Actually no, because that's the one I want. Right, you do that basically over and over again. And that is how you build a semi-successful... Hopefully your designs will be stronger and better than mine. That's how you build a light transport plane. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and see you.